So after we say farewell to the stone giant family, we're getting our first looks at Lyria and its surrounding.
Yep, definitely made some long-lasting friendships there, I tell you, even though we just rescued a cow. All right, so Lyria at large. I am going to do a flyby with my familiar, so we'll
Yeah.
get a little bit more detail. This is the road we're coming up. We are roughly about here at this point, and there's a lot of traffic on this road, uh, relatively speaking, because a lot of it is already in town. This is a sprawling suburb. Uh, this does not show all the detail, just not possible. There is some kind of festival underway. There's tons of people in the street. There's stalls set up everywhere along the streets. There's music that you can be heard. There is various kinds of entertainments going on, musicians, performers, all kinds of stuff. This is, again, like I said, some kind of festival. There are some banners, which we'll get to in time. For the moment, this road goes to what looks like a causeway. What you can't see on this causeway is there are uh, basically guardhouses, one here, one halfway, and then at the gates to the city itself. This causeway is at water's level. So when the tide comes in, it's below water. So it's only twice a day for 2 8 hour periods where it's actually functional. The rest of the time it is underwater. This is, again, a massive city. I can't really give you this. Like, this is not a good graphic for it. There are streets, but they're more not so much in the sense of streets, but they're just buildings that are so close together that there's just a gap, and there are some alleyways. There is buildings above buildings. Some are large and grandeur. All of it has a very pronounced sense of age. This is not a place that's new. It's been here for a very, very long time. This is the outer city. Uh, Anything you can imagine, shops, um, inns, all kinds of stuff. Just everything you can imagine in the city is in there.
Hmm.
There's theaters, all kinds of stuff. This is a inner wall, which is actually higher than this, but you can't really tell from this angle. And in here, the buildings are actually far more grand. That central tower you see there reaches higher than the parapets that you see on the outside, those towers. It is domed at the top, as you can see, and there are like, it's massive, and there are other towers. There's grandiose villas. There is also, you can't quite see it here, a fortified keep inside all this other fortifications. And as my owl passes over it, you see men in various armors doing some training, all kinds of stuff going on in there. Like I said, this place is bigger than we've ever seen.
Yes. All right, so that's the initial view
That's
we
right.
get from your owl.
That is our initial interpretation. One other thing. Tide is low enough now that this causeway is exposed, and there is a queue, a lineup going along this road past here to about here of wagons and people waiting. And there seems like at this guardhouse there seems to be some kind of well, they're searching wagons, questioning people. That is the way in, the
All right.
actual Lyria itself. So what do you want to do? We're way down at the bottom.
It's going to take us a while to even get there by the looks of it.
It is not a short walk. Probably two where that queue starts over an hour walk, and then that's when it's the streets are clear. Right now, it is packed. There's sights to be seen. There's people doing all kinds of stuff.
Uh, Approximately how long have we been traveling today, out of curiosity?
All right, this will be mid-afternoon.
All right.
Actually, maybe a bit later, because we did end up spending some time with the Giants. We'll just call it, say, 4-ish. So we got about another hour, 2 hours. Yeah, between an hour and 2 hours till dark.
All right. So
But
it's going to take us an hour to even get to this line.
yeah,
And who knows
and
how
the
long to get through
tide.
it.
Uh, you don't know much about the tides because you haven't really had any experience with it, but you do know control water. I'll give you a roll. Uh, roll intelligence check. Tide coming in, tide going out.
That's another 19.
You get a sense because of your ties to water that the tide is on its way in. You think this causeway is going to be flooded in short order, probably before dark.
All right. So we're not likely to make it into the city today, one way or the other.
No. While we're doing this conversation, are we walking along?
Yes.
Okay. I would like you to roll a straight perception check, please, because I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Alice is not here anymore.
No, she is not. That's a 22.
Wow. You're on fire. All right. As we start walking into town, as I'm going to skip all the farm stuff because basically it's mostly deserted anyway. There's still the odd farmhand who looks very unhappy because they're left behind having to do some work. Almost everybody in this general area is all in this big festival. It is well, it's basically an end of harvest festival. It's a little late because there's so much going on, but this is for all intents and purposes once a year before winter sets in completely. Even though they got snow this morning, this is their big to do for all the work they've done through the year, and they're letting their hair down,
All
having
right.
fun. The other thing you notice is some of the entertainment seems very, very familiar. You notice a troupe of buskers that we met in Lyria are here.
You mean
They
in
are
Vern's Run?
entertaining. Hmm?
You mean in Vern's Run?
Oh, my bad. Yes, Burns Run. They are here and they're entertaining and they're doing stuff.
All right. If memory serves, these are the group of minstrels and other entertainers that Bree went off with.
Yes, same group. They are kind of the magic have-nots. Well, they have enough magical capabilities to perform cantrips, and that's how they entertain the crowd. They use prestidigitation, mending, thaumaturgy, and fire bolts, that sort of stuff, just to entertain the crowds, dancing lights, and yeah. As we move along through their troop, one particular individual screams out in joy at seeing us because you do stand out.
Yes.
We are very recognizable. You remember her from a certain instance where a disgruntled shopkeeper fired a crossbow bolt and it almost killed her, and we saved her life.
Yes. I think. Oh,
And
I think you're the one who did that part.
eh, it's an us thing. She spots us and she's doing a dance. She's a lot more clothed than she was in Vern's Run because it's a lot colder now.
Because that was in the fall and this is now in winter.
Yep, and it snowed. But she's dressed in rather a slinky outfit, and she has some dancy lights going. So she sees us, she screams in joy, or squeals in joy, I should say. The dancing lights blink out, and she runs over and gives us both a big hug because, well, we saved her life from a very unpleasant individual.
All
And
right.
then the uh, person who's playing the music notices us and starts passing word along. And because you roll a 22,
Yep.
you notice one other individual who's quite short.
I assume this will be Bree Tealeaf.
This is Bree Tealeaf, our childhood friend who we saved from death on the plateau because of some very unsavory sorts. Who
We're basically all dead by this point.
Yeah, she'll be. I don't know. We'll see how she responds to that. His death. Um, she hasn't spotted us yet, so I would like you to roll an insight check, please.
All right. Natural 1.
Never mind. So word passes along. She's puzzled for a few moments and then spots us, and her face just lights up because, well, hey, we have been a very important part of her life for her almost entire life. Actually, we are older than her, so yeah.
Yes.
She's known us her entire life. Like I said, we saved her in the plateau for some issues. We helped her out in Vern's Run, and then we set her up with these guys so that she can get out of Vern's Run before the Court of the Seven showed up. Yeah, we've been instrumental in shaping this young lady's young adulthood for, well, better part of 4 months now, at least.
Yes.
And she runs over. She's very happy. Give her a huge hug. And she's very pleased to see us. And pretty much the entire busker crowd stops entertaining, which is confusing a whole pile of people. But they quickly get over it and move on to other entertainment. And yeah, the whole troop's here.
All right.
They're doing well, and they're happy to see us. They have a stall set up, kind of. It's more like a tent off to the side of one of the streets. There's tons of people setting up tons of stuff. And we get invited into one of their tents. It's a big, kind of like a pavilion. They do some stuff there, try to make more money, and we sit down and we chat with them. One of the things, after all the hubbub over just finding us and everything is over, and some small stories of some of their adventures and everything, the topic turns to Lyria. And a bit of a frown comes over Bree's face at this point, which you didn't catch the first time. Some things have been happening. Lyria is not in lockdown, but like we're talking about the inner city.
Yeah.
There is currently a lot more searching going on. Apparently, instances of wild magic have been happening. At which point you look at
At which point, yes, I look at the wild magic sorcerer in the room.
She says, no. Maybe one or two of those are mine, but something else is going on here. She doesn't. I said, I'm not responsible. Once her friends had imprinted on her the importance of not annoying a whole pile of high-level magic users and fighters, that they don't even, over their nefarious part of their entertainment, especially when they were in Vern's Run, they would pick pockets.
Yes, last time we ran into them, my coin purse mysteriously went missing.
Yeah, none of that's happening here. Yeah, the head guy, the usual gentleman that's on stilts.
Yes.
Do you remember his name?
No, I do not. I do not believe
What's his name? Borovic.
I don't know if we even got that name last time.
Yeah, anyway, he's the head organizer. He's the one that does the thaumaturgy to make the voices and get everyone's attention and all that sort of stuff. He's laid down the law. No picking pockets. No use of magic to do anything other than entertain. He says this place is rich. They make more money here through legal means than by what they're making in Vern's Run, even with all their other options. And this is a huge festival, so this is where they make a ton of money, helps them through the year. And Bree's just scowling because she doesn't like it when she can't just go and do what she wants. She did a few initial things. Some wild magic happened. No one got hurt or anything. But then Or Borovic said, "Look, we can't do that. We don't get thrown in jail. Lord knows how long we'd be there, and it's just not worth it." So that's why you didn't notice initially, but you can see it now in her face. She's not a happy person. So what has been happening is there, like I said, there are instances every now and then, usually at night, but not always, where some wild magic surges have been happening. The the powers that be don't know what it is. The city itself, the walled city of Lyria, like I said, is currently in lockdown. They're searching everybody. Uh, the what you know as the White Knights that Aldrich was part of, and the Mages Guild, all that sort of stuff, not really getting involved in this. They it hasn't nothing's escalated. No one seems to be taking it too seriously, but here in town they are, because that huge town, or walled city, I should say, is a major source of income for the town, or the suburb here, and a lot of traffic goes in and out during those two short windows where they can get in, sell their wares, and get out before the tide comes back. And well, as you saw with a large queue, it is not at a standstill, but so close that like a tiny fraction of what normally get through for a run of a trading day is just pitiful.
All right. Well, so nothing's exploded then, because no one's in any with this wild magic, so no one's too concerned. However, well, the usual reason for wild magic is a wild magic sorcerer, and well, we were hoping that the court probably wasn't here.
Yeah, we were thinking that this close to Lyria, that they wouldn't bother, or sorry, wouldn't risk any kind of exposure here, because they can't play as gods. That would be spotted initially, like right away off the bat. They can't go in saying we're gods, lay down your false idols and follow me kind of crap, because Lyria will have nothing to do with it.
Then again, they did almost make it to their doorstep when they were trying to, we were going after the fountain.
Yes, they're relatively close by, considering that town they took over is not that far.
No, but we dealt with that.
Yes.
We left no sorcerers there, as far as we can tell.
Yep.
So this is confusing.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, we're probably not going to be making it into Lyria tonight, then.
No, between getting reunited, all the stories, then filling us on Lyria and what's been going on, it is well, the sun has set. It's not dark because, well, there's tons of light everywhere. There's lanterns, torches. They're not stopping. This is an ongoing party.
Well, for the moment, it's probably a good idea for us to get some rest.
Yes. All right. You have two options. You can bunk here. I'm quite willing for that. You could risk a point of exhaustion and continue, excuse me, investigating if you like. What do you want to do?
Well, I think it's probably best if we turn in for the night and pick this up in the morning.
All right. So there are plenty of people here. Lots of people. They keep watch because it's just their habit. Yeah. We don't have to do anything special. Do you want to?
Well, because I lost Alice before the break, I think I'm going to spend a bit of time before bed resummoning her.
All right. Easily done. Yeah. No rolls necessary except her hit points.
Yep.
And you can finish up your 2 hours, by the way, as well. So you can have your book done.
I don't think I'm going to have time for that, unfortunately.
All right.
I rolled a 1 on her hit points, by the way.
3 times easier to kill her next time.
Yes, it's going to make so much difference.
Yeah. Well, she got a 1 natural 20 to save herself once.
Yes.
All right. We turn in, set some watches. It'd be really hard to set an alarm because there's just so many people coming and going. There's a fire. There's always someone awake. We can alternate, you and I. We can spend some time talking to Bree, but we get a
Yep.
full rest. Nothing nefarious happens during the night. Let's see for sure, though, just in case. Quiet night. You wake up in the morning. Uh, you can do one of two things. There are so many options for food here, or you can have rations, whichever you prefer.
Well, at the moment, I'm going to be just swapping out some of my prepared spells.
That is a good idea. Well, I don't think I'll be doing any of that while we're here. Get that off. I think for the first time in a long time, I'm going to prepare sleep.
So did I.
I'm also tempted to take Fireball off my list for the moment. Yeah, I think I will because I don't think fireballing a bunch of people in the middle of a festival is going to go over very well.
Could easily regret that decision.
Oh, I know. All right. Yeah, magic user who has Fireball, not using it. Well, decisions made. You always reverse it at some point.
Yep.
So, dawn of a new day. You get 2 new portents. My wand is already fully charged.
Yep. And I guess we're going to look for somewhere to have separate breakfast.
Yep. There is no shortage, except for the wee hours, like between say about 1 and 2 to about 3 or 4 in the morning. The party never stopped. It slowed down a bit during those times. There's still a few people staggering around even then. Yeah, this is a festival. It's going to go on for about 4 or 5 days total. We kind of got in the middle. But yeah, there's people. They're having fun. They worked all year.
All right. So how in the world do we go about looking for wild magic surges, I think, as we find somewhere to sit down to have breakfast?
All right. The buskers recommend a nice place, but they recommend it because it's cheap.
Okay.
Because they don't want to spend the money they're making by celebrating. They're here to work. As a matter of fact, most of them head off and set up, and they start working right away. Warwick kind of sticks around for a little bit longer. Decides that we're probably the best chaperones for Bree anyway, and
Yep.
eventually he sets off to work as well. So we can ask Bree. See if Bree knows of a good restaurant. She doesn't like, to skimp. She recommends a really nice place. I'm not going to bother pinpointing specific places for where various restaurants are because there's just too many of them.
All right.
But this main street and this sort of area here, and to a lesser extent down this way, there are shops of all kinds. And there are inns, there are restaurants, there are all kinds of things. She points to one. It looks expensive just by looking at it. It's very well painted. It's got nice stained glass windows. The clientele coming and going are well dressed. It's not going to be cheap. She says, really nice in there.
All right.
What do you want to do?
Just wanted to sit down somewhere and have breakfast so we could discuss how to look into these wild magic surges, which are unusual.
All right, so we'll go in. We'll get into more details of various places as we go along. A very nice place, very well kept, very clean. They have incense burning, smells nice in here. We sit down at a table. No one gives us an odd look or anything, even though we are a bit travel stained. We are handed menus. I think the first time in our entire lives there's a menu to choose food from. And the prices are listed there. And indeed, a good meal here is going to set us up as a group, probably about 4 gold pieces,
All right.
which is a huge amount of money because I think in Vern's Run that the whippoorwill we stayed at was a gold piece we spent for the whole week at one point.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is just one meal. So yeah, this is expensive, but I'm very happy. I get to order food I want, some stuff I haven't heard of, try some food, and the food is absolutely delicious. It's like well presented. It's very tasty. It might just be the fact that we're not eating our own cooking and trail rations, but this is really nice. So I will pay for the meal because I want to be here.
All right.
-3 GP, not a big deal at all. We have so much money.
Hmm.
Not that we actually have accrued any in the last while. Since we left the fountain, we haven't really made any money at all.
No, kind of hard to in the wilderness.
Yeah, but we have a nice nest egg. So we eat, we smile, we drink, have a nice breakfast. I have some nice hot tea. Catch up with Bree again some more. Yeah, she fills us in that for the most part it's fine. She doesn't really like it here. She hasn't been able to get into the walled city at all, but she doesn't think she's going to like it. So she's fine. Out here is usually pretty good. But something's going on. I mean, they have town guards. The main white knights of Lyria that we are familiar with don't really come out here. Every now and then they'll see the odd one coming and going, but mostly it is a separate guard structure that they have here. And they are going around questioning people from time to time. If they see anything magical. The whole troop got questioned. She got questioned. They don't. It's just kind of bizarre. She doesn't like it. It's constricting.
All right.
What's what do?
Well, we need to figure out how to investigate these wild magic surges, I guess. I'm not entirely sure how to do that.
All right, so I take it we're gonna get out of the restaurant because
Yeah,
we need to wander around a bit. So we do so. We step out into the street, and actually, I should probably just double check that. Yeah. Above the general hoopla, there is a bit of a commotion. Not much, but there seems to be a group of pikes, and just over that way,
you say
that
pikes?
pikes, as in city guards that are carrying pikes.
Yes.
Uh, they seem to be questioning. Looks human. Like I said, it's another thing I got to get into describing the people. There's just so much to describe. We'll just
Okay.
do this a bit at a time. But yes, there's a human wearing robes, has a staff. Um, Nothing really unusual about them. If you wanted to pick a class for them, you probably would pick wizard. And they're talking to this person, and there's some people around that seem to be trying to clear a bit of space around them, which is hard because there's so many people. But yeah, roll a perception check, please.
20.
All right. You pick out of the conversation that they want him to cast a spell. They don't care. First level spell and up, cast one. And he says, why? And then he says, look. They start being a little bit belligerent. We're the city guard. They're not. They're the town guard. We want you to cast a spell. We're looking for a particular individual, and we want to know if you're it. Are you moving towards this at all, or are you just staying where you are?
Move a bit closer, I suppose.
All right, so you approach. And indeed, there is a small group, phalanx. There's 6 town guards. They're all wearing the same livery. They have a short sword, and they have a pike. And pikes, I think, are just sort of, I have no idea. I think they're more for intimidation because you can't really wield a pike in this sort of short confines. They're unwieldy. They're just not designed for this. And yeah, they are beginning to circle around this guy a little bit, saying, "Look, you have no choice. We can arrest you and throw you in jail if you don't, do what we want you to do." And guy's looking a little nervous now because he just got to town. It's like, so I don't understand. I mean, if you really want me to, okay. At which point, a voice bellows over the crowd saying, "What in the world do you think you're doing?" And
I assume everyone looks in the direction of the bellowing voice.
Yes, you see a very familiar face, sort of. Well, actually, you do see his face. He's not wearing his helmet here. You see a very well-dressed white knight of Lyria in full white knight regalia.
So I assume this is Aldrich.
This is Aldrich.
Yeah.
He seems to have gone up a little bit in ranks. He's got some more insignia. He's stomping towards this group, and he says right in this guy's face, "Do you honestly want to have a wild magic surge happen if this guy happens to be it? What happens if he fireballs this whole crowd right here? Do you think you want that to happen?" And he's just like basically just going to town on this guy. This is the most ridiculous thing he's ever heard. He says, "You had better get out of here and straighten up your acts before I report you, and then you'll be up on charges. Now get lost." they turn their tails and quick march away.
Yeah.
And he turns to
diffused itself. That situation diffused itself.
Yes. And he turns to the young gentleman who's just doesn't know what's going on now. And he says, "My apologies. Are you indeed a magic user?" And he's being very calm now. And the young guy says, "Yeah, I was thinking of trying to join the academy here. I wasn't expecting all this." He says, "Yeah, I know. It's just unfortunate situation at the moment." And he takes out and says, "If you don't mind," he pulls out of a pocket in his robes. It's a clear ball. There's a crystal ball. And he says, "Could you just put your hand on this for me? Just, it won't hurt you. I'm holding it myself." And the guy does so. And it turns to swirls a little bit. And then nothing happens. He says, "You're free to go. Don't worry about it." And the guy says, "What was that?" And he says, "This is something that we've started to develop in the academy. And what it is it helps us in determining if someone has wild magic. If they put their hand on it and it turns a solid color, we know that there's a wild magic user. Wild magic sorcerer is what they're concerned about." He says, "Don't worry, you're fine. You're free to go. Go enjoy the festival. Sorry for the inconvenience." And then he says, "Go about your business, everybody." And he starts to walk away.
All right. Well, they do seem to be investigating this, with relatively mixed results at the moment.
He hasn't spotted us, which is bizarre because you're blue, you're tall.
That's fine for the moment.
All right, so he wanders off.
I assume Bree is with us.
Bree can't be seen at the moment.
Oh, she turned invisible?
No.
I'm just hiding.
You gonna look for her?
I'll look around, yeah.
Roll perception, please. Or are you gonna actually search for her?
I'll just look around.
Yeah. Perception check.
Do I have to roll this at disadvantage?
Nope.
No? Oh, she has her cloak.
Oh, sorry, I did forget about that. Yes, sorry, you are rolling at disadvantage.
5.
Nowhere to be seen.
All right.
After Aldrich has disappeared into the crowd, she's standing beside you. So, wow, that's really annoying and scary.
Say, well, it looks like I guess the White Knights and the authorities here are not incompetent. They also thought to look for for a wild magic sorcerer.
Yep.
Which makes me think if there is one from the court here, I say that they're not likely to get in unnoticed. I say to you. Yes.
Just, sorry, something just happened.
All right.
It is very funny.
Well, is it obvious so we can all share in the joke?
No, unfortunately, no. uh, roll a perception check. Maybe. Who knows?
6.
Never mind. But it was very funny. Yeah. So, what do you want to do?
All right. Does I assume Lyria is still in lockdown at the moment?
The tide is in.
Right.
For this matter.
Well,
But there is a queue forming for when the tide goes out.
yes. Well, it's not very helpful.
No, and it's also still a few hours away before it'll be out sufficiently that you can use the causeway. By the way, the snow that fell yesterday is mostly melted, especially in town here.
All right. Well, I suppose we can just wait for not sure what else there is to do at this point apart from
Well, Bree thinks that it'd be really nice to find out what the real source is, so that these uptight individuals will stop looking for wild magic individuals. That would be nice. But she's not sure what good she can do. She can't anything above a cantrip. She is just as likely to cause problems as whatever's doing this. So,
all right. Do I have any idea if there's any way I can detect a wild magic surge? I mean, there's no way of detecting a wild magic user any different than anyone else.
Roll.
All right. This is an Arcana check.
Yes.
18.
All right. You know that because we've been around Bree sufficiently, that when there is a wild magic surge, you feel it. It's not the same as a normal spell being cast. It has a very chaotic feel to it, and yeah, you can sense that. Same as when you're going up against a magic user who's casting a spell at you. You feel the energies building. You feel You would not just watching the fingers move and the lips moving.
Yes, but that is in a very close. That's not a very wide area we can sense that in.
No, that is not something that you're going to be able to detect from the other end of town, even down the street. Well, maybe down the street. It's hard to say. Um, but no, it's not um, really obvious. But you also just saw Aldrich. They are obviously very concerned about this in the walled city of Lyria.
Yeah.
Enough to make a magic item for it.
Yes, one that seems to require the person to hold it.
I think. Hold on a second. I know how it works. I'll see if Jonas does. Ooh, that's really high. I get the impression, this is Jonas talking, that Aldrich, being a smart person and not wanting them to have a surge and then blast the town with fire, lightning, or whatever, had him touch it because that would trigger it. But if he were to cast a spell, I think the range is much greater. I think that orb probably has a sufficient range to pick it up from further away. I mean, who knows how far, but doesn't require touch. And
All right,
probably is
so
better than us, like 30, 40, 50, 100 feet. We can probably pick it up too.
maybe.
Maybe. If we're looking for it.
Do I see which direction Aldrich has gone in?
You saw where he went. You have no idea where he is. But you do know the gentleman. You know things that he carries. If you have locate object prepared,
I
you
do.
you can pick many of the things that you've seen him uh, walking around with, and you can home in on them if you like. All right. So some time is going to go by.
All right, I'm going to take out the forked twig from my component pouch.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to spin it in that field of blue rippling energy and cast locate object. I'm going to try and locate Aldrich's sword, which I've seen up
Yep.
close before, so I can home in on that specific sword.
All right. We
If
had
it is on
breakfast.
his person and within 1,000 feet.
We had breakfast roughly about here. That incident happened relatively close by. He wandered down the street, turned this way, and currently you feel the ping in this direction.
All right, I'm going to follow my spell, and hopefully we can follow him, find him, and convince him to lend us one of those wild magic detectors.
All right. So you have choices. You can follow the street around either direction. You can try weaving your way through alleys. What would you like to do?
Uh, which looks less crowded.
Alleys are less crowded. The streets are very crowded.
All right, I'm going to take an alley
There's
then and try and take a direct route to follow the spell.
okay, he seems the angle as we head this way. The angle seems to be deflecting this way. He seems to be, I think, walking around. He maybe just be doing a loop. Who knows? Might head this way, but for the moment, it seems as we get to about here, it's now in this direction. We
All right,
are possibly approaching. Who knows? So we make it to this road
yeah.
without any difficulties. You're going to try and catch up to him. He's not walking fast, but again, the streets are very crowded. I would like a dexterity check, please. Roll as well. Oh, that's really high.
11.
All right. Me leading the way, Bree being naturally evasive. We are making good pace,
Yeah.
and you do it is now straight ahead of us as we're heading down the road, and
Am I
we are,
garnering any attention from this as I'm walking down the street with an active spell going?
for the most part, no one's really paying us any attention at all. Like I said, there's lots of entertainment going on. There's lots of people hawking all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, lots of distractions, I guess.
Yep. And now that we've been here for a little bit, you do notice a fair number of people who actually have what you assume are familiars on their shoulders. There's some people pretending to juggle stuff, even though they're not touching the balls. There's just lots of magic happening.
All right.
You're
I
not
guess it's a
unusual.
bit more overt than mine.
Yeah, you're just looking at a twig. The stone around your head does get some attention every now and then,
Yeah.
but this town is saturated with magic.
All right. So, trying to follow Aldrich.
You're seeing ahead. He is not moving quickly. He's walking around. He's talking to people. Looks at the ball every now and then. Not much going on.
All right. I'll cease concentration on my spell and return the component to my component pouch.
Yep. Stuff the twig in your component pouch, and you can easily catch up to him.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go say hello. Also curious what Bree is going to be doing at this point.
She's attempting to hide behind something, but you see her. She's not doing very successful.
All right, then.
She's not coming with us.
I expected as much.
Yep. She's right now pretending to shop at a stall, and she's trying to put the stall between her and Aldrich, and she's just really messed it up. So
I'm going to approach Aldrich.
Yeah, go ahead. He's not, like I say, he's talking to people.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get his attention.
Easily done. You assume say his name.
Yes.
He turns around, frowns for 2 seconds, and says, "Oh, you guys. So great to see you again." Walks over to us, shakes both our hands. So glad to see you. Thank you ever so much for your help in Vern's Run. Couldn't have asked for a better outcome. So glad you came here. What do you think of our grand town, Lyria? And he just sort of.
I said, well, at the moment, it seems to be closed.
Oh yes.
Is that I heard about the current ongoing investigation.
Investigation might be giving it a bit of more importance than what it actually is. There's been mild wild magic surges. Some of the uppity ups think that there might be a sorcerer in town.
I think to myself, well, yes.
Yeah. We have a newly developed magic item. You might have seen it. Actually, it's in my hand. And we're thought it was a great opportunity to test this out. Some guards are taking this a little too seriously. Nothing bad has happened. I do have a bit of more information than they do. Apparently, someone a week or two ago was trying to get into to join the academy, Magic Academy, and they have, well, kind of a test, more like mini quests, a bunch of stuff that you can do to get in there, and you can just pay. But apparently, this person claiming to be a magic user did something, and there was a surge of wild magic, and it just shocked everyone because they thought he must be a sorcerer. But then he cast a spell that, when we tried to apprehend him to check things out, that, well, we study sorcery, we know sorcerers. It's not on the sorcerer spell list. He disappeared, and been trying to track him down since then because this is a new phenomenon, but not having any real luck because, well, he knows magic and it's one person and a very large amount of people.
Yes.
So it hasn't been working out so far.
So, well, if you need some assistance in investigating this, we'd be willing to help. However, we would require a means of, well, basically tracking these surges. I don't actually know of a spell able to do that. In fact, I think your little artifact there might be the only thing I know of capable of doing so.
Yes, this is a prototype. It requires attunement, but it is so far working out pretty good. Haven't had any mishaps with it yet. It seems to work, but again, it's just the one of it. It's not like you can hand out a bunch. Probably make this a bit easier, but no, just one.
All right, so. All right. Well, that rules out the idea. I was hoping that you might be able to lend us one if we could help out with this investigation. But there's not much we can do.
One sec. He scratches the head for a second, and then he seems to come to a decision. He says, of all the magic users, and trust me, I've seen quite a few, you two have been the most trustworthy that he's run across in a very long time. You could have easily kept that, he says quietly,
Yes.
And not given it to me. You could have just left with it, and I wouldn't have had it. It has certainly helped his career quite a bit. But not that that's the important part. The important part is that it is secure now, and like I said, you guys could have kept it. You didn't. If anyone deserves to help out in this investigation, he says you two are certainly prime candidates. He says the only downside is it requires attunement. I mean, there's many other things I'd rather be doing right now, but it's up to you.
All right. I look over to you. Well, do you think we should help out with the investigation then?
What? Not help out our friend Eldrick here when he needs us? No, not that he really needs us, but no, of course we'll help out. So we do.
All right. I guess we'll be assisting with the investigation then.
Splendid, he says. He says, he hands the orb to you.
Mhm.
And says, be careful, just don't drop it. It is crystal, and it will shatter. Once you identify and tune to it, you'll be able to use it. It's actually quite useful. This will definitely, well, you've already done so much for everything, but once this little problem is over and traffic is resumed, you could easily, and trust me, I'll put a very, very good word for you. You'll be able to get into the inner city and the magic items and other things that are available in there far, far better than what's out here. This is more trinkets in the city itself. The library and the academy is just massive. So two people like you would just like pigs in a sty. You'd be very, very happy. So he says, I do have other things I need to do. Says I do have this. This is the half ascending stone that I have. Gives it to you. It says, I'll go to my superiors. I'll acquire the other one. If you have any leads or resolve this, don't hesitate to give me a call. Says, thank you very much. Shakes our hands again, claps us on the back, strides off. Because this is not the usual kind of thing that he's asked to do. He got kind of impression that he thought it was kind of beneath him.
All right. So we have to attune to this.
Yes, you do.
Oh, I have to attune to it, do I?
The joys of being the active player.
Yeah. I'm still not entirely sure what we're going to be doing with this, apart from just being nosy, really.
Well, why don't you identify it first?
All right, I'll take out the pearl from my component pouch and I'll sit
Right
down
here in the middle.
somewhere.
Yeah, so right here in the middle of the street.
No, somewhere off to the side. Like, I assume there's lots of tables set up, and I will cast Identify on this crystal globe.
So as you're sitting down getting ready to do this, Bree shows up and looks at it, staring at the thing.
Does it react at all, or I guess it's not active at the moment?
Nothing seems to be happening. She hasn't touched it.
All right, anyway, I'm going to cast Identify on it.
All right.
So that takes 11 minutes.
Yes. During that process, this is what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
It is basically like a locate object spell. It has the same range. And what it detects, though, is it'll give you a direction for a wild magic surge. The other option, of course, is you can have like Bree put her hand on it and it turns red. If they are someone who is that sort of, it leaves a residual trace on them, and it picks that up.
Yes, so it just detects wild magic.
That's all it does.
All right. Well, I guess we have to wait an hour then for me to attune to this.
Yes. And after you explain that, Bree looks around and kind of shields the thing with her body, touches it with her finger to it.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately turns red.
All right, so it works.
Yep.
But all that really means is that Aldrich didn't give us something useless.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah.
What did you unattune from?
That is the. I guess I'll stow the Ion Stone for the moment and unattune from that.
All right.
So my Constitution is 2 lower, and I lose 7 hit points.
That must feel weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes. Does anything happen in the hour we need to sit so I can attune to this thing?
All right. You're in the process of attuning to it, and I am going to roll. Lost my 10 sided for a second. Oh, that is priceless.
All right.
Okay, you're in the process of tuning to this.
Yes.
It does seem to be reacting to something. You're not sure what it is. Actually, can you roll percentile die? I want to see how far through the attunement process you are.
Percentile? All right.
Yep.
91.
You're almost done. Just almost. Just finishing up. You already get the feel that it is a pull in a particular direction. And you're just, again, that happens. 6 seconds later, another pull. Same direction.
All
6
right,
seconds later.
All right, something is going on.
Another pull. Same direction. 6 seconds
later. I know I have to stay here to finish doing this, but I'm looking around. Is there anything obvious? There's nothing really obvious happening.
Nothing obvious is happening, but you're getting these surges and they're pulling you. Now you're done. Yeah. And okay, I'm not sure where you decided to go, but we met Aldrich here.
Yes. And I would have basically stood off basically just the nearest place I could sit down and work.
Okay, you're getting pulled in this direction. And
all right.
Every 6 seconds, a surge, and you know it's in this direction. Another 6 seconds, and a surge, it's in that direction.
All right, well, this thing is definitely working, and so is
Yep.
someone else.
Yep.
It's a, it's
6 seconds later. You hear a bit of a surprise gasp in that direction.
all right, in that direction. All right, there's a ridiculous amount of wild magic happening in this direction.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get up and try and follow the globe, and I hope you two are going to follow after me.
Yeah. So well, I mean, this is not the best representation, but there are alleys. There are people everywhere. All of a sudden, you see people being bumped into by a bunch of somethings that you can't see. You don't know. There's some laughing going on, some surprise, some shock. Someone's really enjoying this. Some young girl gets pinched in the bum.
Well, I did not prepare see invisibility.
6 seconds later. Another surge, same direction. Actually, slightly off now.
All right, I'm going to try and keep following that because this is literally the only clue we have at the moment.
All right.
Far less reliable than a locate object spell, by the way.
Yeah. Well, you know the direction.
Yes.
All right. So what's happening is we started heading this way towards the surges. Now that it seems to be kind of like weaving back and forth through what you think are those trees. So we've come through the alley.
Right. I identified this artifact, so I would understand how it works. So it detects wild magic surges, which mean every time someone casts a spell, or basically every time there's a surge in wild magic, right? Every time there's a roll.
And you get to know the direction. Yes. By the strength, you get to know roughly how far away it is.
Okay. I immediately wasn't entirely keeping track, but I think in the like 7 surges at least have happened in the past less than a minute.
Yep. And
so someone casting that many spells.
You see an individual. Actually, hold on a sec. No, you see something moving through the trees, and there's a burst of bluish color in that direction. But you don't see anything after the burst of blue. And then
all right.
Another surge in that direction.
I say we're getting closer, I think.
So what are you doing? Are you pursuing this?
Yes, I'm going to try and follow this as best I can.
Okay.
But this is intermittent at best.
Yep. You are heading in the direction. The surges seem to stop.
I may have run out of spells.
You can see something moving through. Well, basically, this is just like a parkland or trees. You can see there's a bit of snow still. You can see footprints every now and then. Normally, you would have advantage on perception because we're all here, but this person's not visible. So, straight roll, please, for perception.
8.
All right, you're beginning to not be able to find them.
All right, I say, do you have Dispel Magic prepared?
I should. Hold on a sec. I do.
All right, this is tricky. I do not believe this Dispel Magic requires you to see the target.
I have to pick an effect.
Yes.
Spell effect. I'm not sure of the range.
I
think it's like 60 feet, isn't it?
I think it's more than that. Range of 120 feet.
Ah. All right.
What choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range. Doesn't specify you need to see it.
Well, there are spell effects that aren't visible, but I have to
Like
know it exists.
invisibility.
Yes. Would you like me to cast Dispel Magic? What looks like a fading trace of something moving through those uh, bushes that way.
I think it's worth a try.
All right. Mark off a third level spell
Like I
slot.
said, I did not prepare see invisibility this morning.
We've had a long rest, so I can get all that back. All right. I stop. I cast the spell, and the
I'm
magic
not sure if you have
works.
to roll for this or not.
I do not. A invisible person now becomes visible, and they are stumbling through the woods, unaware that. I don't know. Would you be aware if you became visible when you were invisible?
The spell ends, so I would assume if you're concentrating on a spell, you're aware that you can't. The spell ends. I guess up to you.
All right. If you become visible because of a wild magic surge, is that the same as having the spells cast on you?
The spell is
You
cast on you. It does not require concentration. I don't
no,
think,
does not
as far
require
as I know.
concentration, so you're not specifically involved in it.
Yep. I guess it's up to interpretation, whatever you want to go with here.
Yeah, this is not their effect, so I'm going to say that they're not aware of it. So
All right.
you see someone hurriedly trying to get away, but now you see them.
Now I see them.
I'm going to
Well,
roll a dex check for them. And they're slipping and sliding.
well, I could cast sleep. Are they within range? 90 feet?
They're extreme long range.
Soda.
I was just in range for
So I have to pursue them.
yes.
All right. Well, I would
You
like to do that.
personally
I'd also like to try and not get their attention, though that may not be possible to avoid that.
all right, so there's gonna be two rolls. First off,
Mhm.
you don't slip and slide on this
No.
slushy ground that he is currently slipping and sliding on.
Nope.
But you are trying to make your way through trees. So I want to see how well you're going to do that. So roll a dex check, please.
All right. So just a straight roll then, I guess.
Straight dexterity roll. Yeah.
9.
Okay. You are not being slipping and sliding, but you're having a little bit of difficulty navigating through the brush.
Yeah.
Now I would like you to roll disadvantage stealth check.
Yeah, stealth. All right. I am going to use one of my portents.
Disadvantage, so you get rid of one of the numbers.
Yes. All right. So it's a 16 plus 2 is 18. So,
Okay, that number's gone.
well, may not be. I might roll higher than that.
True.
Nope. I rolled a 10 total.
Okay.
Bit of a waste. But I suppose
That is
passive perception on almost everyone.
passive perception, but he's not really kind of panicky at this point.
You can have them roll instead.
I think have them roll at disadvantage because they're just trying to get out of everything. Oh, they're both lousy numbers.
All right.
You seem to be unobserved.
All right. What about the two of you?
Well, Bree's falling behind. She just can't keep up.
All right.
I rolled a nat 20. I leave you in the dust.
Oh, so that wasn't for stealth, though.
No. I am doing much better with you. I see him now. I'm running for him. but I am doing really well at catching up, and I'm closing, but he has noticed me.
All right. Well, that was almost inevitable, I think.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in time.
Yeah, it's very hard to try and pursue someone quickly but also stealthily.
Yes. So, he turns to hears me, looks, see if he stumbles. He managed to keep his feet. He turns around, starts to run. So I'm going to do a contested constitution check here to see whether I catch him or not, because I am rapidly gaining on him.
All right.
Constitution for him. Ooh, that's really good. Hold on a sec. What's your constitution, buddy? Wow, that's going to be hard to beat. Especially with a 2.
You have luck if you want to reroll.
I have luck.
I don't think you've used any today.
Nope. All right. Burning a point of luck.
Yeah, just one is fine, I think.
Yep. Oh, that will do. We're both doing really well. We're leaving you behind because of your role.
Yeah.
But my constitution is better than his. And I am gaining a little bit at a time, but I am gaining on him. This is going to go on for probably better part of a minute for this chase.
Mm-hmm.
I would like you to roll a constitution check, please, because you are trying to keep up.
All right. 7.
Yes, you're falling behind. So at this point, you are probably going to be probably about half what we're doing. So you're probably about 5 rounds behind us when I finally catch him.
All right, so I'm all barely in visual range at all.
Yeah. So you are about 150.
Since I'm falling behind anyway, I'm going to look back and see how Bree's doing.
Bree's walking.
Okay.
Tired. She rolled really bad. She's not up to this.
Okay.
All right. I catch him. He's not happy about that. So this is going to be a grapple check because I'm not trying to hurt him. I'm just trying to catch him.
Okay. So if I remember correctly, grapple is strength athletics on the grappler's part versus
my strength athletics.
Yeah, no, yeah. So you're grappling him.
Yep.
But he can choose to either use his athletics or acrobatics to escape, I think.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
No modifiers.
It's been a long time since we used the grapple rules.
Yeah. No modifiers. So my attempt to grab a hold of him. 15. That's pretty good. No modifiers.
Yep.
His attempt to get away from me. A natural 1.
He falls into your arms.
Yep. He slips, he falls, he lands on the ground, face plants and plows through a bit. And I have him in an arm lock and tell him to stop struggling. This is ridiculous.
All right, I'm going to try and.
Okay, so this is going to be. I am going to roll his reaction to being caught because he is definitely caught. He says, why are you doing this? I mean, I haven't done anything wrong.
By the way, all I'm doing at this point is going to be using my movement and action every round to dash to try to catch up.
Yes, so
I don't have to worry about slipping and sliding on the snow or ice, so I'm just going to be moving as quickly as possible to catch up.
Yep. At normal running, you're 5 rounds behind, but if you're going to just do that, we've stopped. I've grappled him. You're going to show up in about 6 seconds. And probably another after this. And I say, you are causing wild magic surges, and a ton of them. At which point he is shocked because he doesn't even know you can detect it.
Yeah. It might be a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, let's see how he responds to that. badly as possible. He says, "You're lying." He starts to struggle, trying to get away. Very ineffectively.
All right.
Wow, those are some bad numbers. 2 1s and a 3.
It happens.
It happens. At least it's him, not me. So yes, at this point you catch up.
All right, I catch up. All right, I'm going to look this person over.
Yep.
I think I know the answers to this already, but do they
Yep.
look even remotely resemble in general attire or behavior a Court of the Seven sorcerer? I think I already know the answer.
All the Court of the Seven sorcerers we've run into have been arrogant, self-assured, god complex. People that
With
you just
one
wouldn't.
exception, really, but she was far better at being covert operations than this guy. So I think we can rule that out.
Yeah, he's also not a vampire. So.
Yeah. He's also in broad daylight. Yes.
He looks like a human being, just an ordinary human. He's wearing robes, got a staff. At this point, it's laying in the snow over there.
Yeah.
Has a dagger. He has a component pouch. He has a
All right, so he has the standard magic user gear.
Yeah, he has stuff you would expect to see on a magic user.
All right.
I have him grappled.
All right, I'm going to try and place the globe in his hand. I don't know. I'm not sure what that's going to prove. We were following the surges. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, you touch the globe to him.
Yep.
Instantly turns bright red.
All right. So as far as this thing is concerned, yes, he has wild magic user of some kind, but not a court sorcerer, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. So what more was that? You didn't see it. Felt the touch.
Apparently, a new invention. I say. It's true.
So you're from the college, the academy. You're one of those snobs that wouldn't let me in.
No, we just arrived here yesterday ourselves. Just trying to help things along to try and get everything. People seem a little paranoid at the moment. We were trying to see if things would calm down.
Bree's caught up.
Ah.
Yeah, she was not in a rush.
Also, right. I think her move rate is lower than ours.
Oh, yeah. She rolled bad. She was slipping and sliding. Her constitution didn't do her any good. Yeah, bunch of stuff. So, but she's here now.
All right.
And we're gonna let this guy out of the snow. We're gonna tie him up. We don't have rope.
We don't have rope. So no, we're not tying him up. We at least help him stand up, I think. At this point, I don't think he's as likely to run away.
All right, we can surround him.
Yes.
And
but we can try having this conversation a bit more civilly now.
All right, so we pick him up, we brush him off, which kind of surprises him a little bit all by itself, because he says, "Wait a minute, you guys don't have any of those crests that I see on all those academy snobs."
Well, as I said 2 minutes ago, we only just arrived here last night. We haven't even been.
He's trying to catch up.
Yes.
he's had a run through the woods, and he's not expecting what just happened to have happened.
We've not been inside the city yet. However, we are on relatively good terms with one of Lyria's knights, I say. And he lent us this. We were just trying to speed this investigation along. We were concerned, as were, I imagine, the powers that be in Lyria, that a sorcerer of the Court of the Seven was involved. That is usually where wild magic surges come from.
Not one of those arrogant, stuck up. They're worse than these guys. They think they're gods.
Yes, we've met a few.
Says, "I am a wizard. I am not a sorcerer."
All right, that is interesting. So, are you just getting carried away in the festivities? Because I said,
No, I'm trying to prove a point to those snobs in that tower over there. And he points to the city and that big blue top tower, that wild magic isn't dangerous. I've been casting spells and having wild magic surges for 5 days now. No one's got hurt. I turned into a potted plant once,
I said,
invisible.
well,
And you're looking at him. He's blue.
all right, yes. So you've been, well, I imagine running yourself ragged with all this.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to stay out of being arrested for no reason at all. I haven't done anything to anybody.
All right. I said, well, like I said, I think this has been a massively unfortunate misunderstanding. I think says we are on relatively good terms with one of the White Knights, one of their officers. I
Yep.
think I might be able to explain the situation away if you try and just, well, I guess give the wild magic a rest for a little bit and allow things to calm down. So you are correct. Wild magic is not inherently dangerous, but it is completely unpredictable, and and, and unexpected things can happen from it. I assume I'm making some sort of persuasion check at this point.
Yes, there's something else is going to happen in a sec too, but yeah, we'll do that first.
All right.
Got a portent?
Nope. I probably should have saved the 16. That is a total of 4.
He says, "Look, I know it's unpredictable. I've had it my entire life of well, since I started studying, did my apprenticeship, since I cast my first real spell, this happens. I'm still here. But I'm not gonna stop being a wizard.
No.
All I wanted was access to their library, but apparently you have to do some stupid test just to even, get allowed inside the gates. You can't even get into the stupid library without passing a bunch of quests or doing stuff and gaining those stupid crests, which are like 7 of. And it was so annoying. And then the first thing I did, there's a wild magic surge. None of it got hurt or anything, but they all freaked out. I panicked and I ran.
Yes,
And
I think that is what it is, the gist of my point here. I think this has been a massive misunderstanding. And I'm trying to say is I think if we just explain things to everyone calmly, it'll all die down and everything can go back to normal.
the only way that those snobs are going to uh, let me anywhere near anything of theirs if I don't cast any spells. Which is kind of hard to be a wizard.
Yes. All right. And well, I already made my persuasion check and I failed, so
Oh yeah, you failed.
there's not much more I can do here. I could try to convince Aldrich that it's all just been a big misunderstanding, but without any evidence, that might be difficult.
I rolled worse than you.
Or were you trying to persuade him as well?
Oh, I was joining in.
Okay.
My persuasion check was 3 minus 1.
Yeah, so we rolled the same number, just our modifiers go in opposite directions. Right. Well, the problem is, unless we...
This small little girly voice, belonging to Bree,
I assume Bree, yeah.
says, "Look, buddy, I'm a sorcerer. I understand what you're going through. I don't like these people. Not these two. I mean, those people. I've only been here a bit longer than you, and I can't cast my magic. It sucks. But if you really want access to, stuff, and you need that, if I can control myself, and trust me, it's not easy.
I said,
Wants to
trust
use it.
us. It's not easy for her to do that.
You can rein it in, and at
I
least
said, I'm just going to wait in here on her project, or just try and actually explain the situation.
yeah.
I said,
And you can trust these two. They saved my life at least once.
a few times, I think to myself.
Yep. So this is your best chance. Either run away or have this meeting.
I'm going to say, I'm going to say one thing here. Look, I admittedly, as I said, have not set foot inside the walls of Lyria yet. By the sounds of it, you got a lot closer than we did. So I don't know the entire situation at the moment. However, I do know for a fact there's at least one reasonable person in a position of authority within Lyria.
Yep.
As I think it is possible for me to convince him of your story, and basically everything you've said is said. And if just honesty isn't going to work, he does, in fairness, I say to you, look at you, owe us a favor.
A favor?
I just hold up my hand placatingly. Says, let's just start with that one.
All right.
I think we can explain the situation and try and bring things, at least calm the situation down, prevent it, or at least prevent from escalating further.
All right. Bree rolled really, really well, and she's cute and has charisma, and we
Yes.
don't. He looks at her.
Yeah.
All
It's a
right,
shame
fine.
there's no reason roll, really, in Dungeons
No.
and Dragons.
It says, I am going to, for the next hour, and he names an inn. It's an inn that's relatively far down here. It's just before you leave town. So it's one of these ones where you come in as a, you
Okay.
know, it's kind
So
of
what
like,
the whippoorwill was in Fern's Run.
yeah, it's kind of like you're heading into town, you're tired, you're thirsty, you have to wait before you can go in, and that's how they make their income. He says, I'm going to wait there for 2 hours. If you can convince this person that I'm not the evil incarnate that they think I am, come meet me there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do. That last pile of surges really unhinged me.
All right. I'll agree to that for just to try and keep everything calm at the moment, basically.
All right. So he heads off. Says, remember, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Then I'm gone. I'm out of here.
All right. As soon as he's gone, I'm going to take out the sending stone.
Yep.
Hope that Aldrich has found the other half, gotten his hand in the other half at the moment. I'm going to activate it.
Yep.
Says, Aldrich, meet us near the end of the causeway. I think it says we found out what's going on, and I think I have a solution to the problem. It says, for the most part, it seems to have been a false alarm.
You get an
That's the
immediate
message.
response because uh, he does have the stone.
Okay.
It says, excellent. I'll meet you there.
Right. And I'll stow the stone and the wild magic detector back in my bag of holding for the moment.
Yep.
And I'll return them to Aldrich afterwards.
Bree
Is that
says,
all right?
bye, and heads off. So
Oh, joy. There goes the charisma.
I'm gonna go back to my troop because I don't like these people.
All right. We'll see you later.
Still
Shame.
don't
This is Sorry?
still want to take the chance.
No. This probably would have been better with resistance. Then again, like I said, he does owe us a favor. Let's go try and explain the situation to him.
All right, so
Even if this doesn't work, I think we can explain to him that in fact, well, it doesn't, at least the individual causing the wild magic surges didn't mean any harm.
well, that's exactly what they were trying to prove, if we can believe them. All right, so I'm not gonna have you roll to get through the crowd because we're just gonna walk there until we get there. We'll roll a number because this is time sensitive. See, roll a dex check. I'll roll the same.
7.
All right, this is taking us some time. The
Okay.
crowds are thick. We're eating up some of our time. We do make it to him. There is a queue. The tide is just getting out. He comes to meet us. Says, "All right, I'm here. Lead on."
Oh, he wants to. All right, so he wants me to explain the situation, or he wants me to lead him somewhere.
Lead on and explain as we walk, because it's just
Okay.
ridiculous for people here.
All
I
right,
can't
I'm
wait
going
for this
to says.
festival to be over.
All right. Well, near as I understand the situation, an individual tried to pass some test to try and gain access to the city or the library, one or the other.
Yep.
And says this is, and when this individual cast a spell, he caused a wild magic surge. As far as he's concerned, he says he is not a sorcerer, but a wizard. I don't know exactly the validity of that statement. I didn't ask for a spell book.
You also didn't roll an Arcana check.
All right. Oh, that's much better. See, 22. It works when I have my strengths.
You know from your teachings from Ren that quite some time ago, wild magic users, like real wizards, were fairly commonplace. They existed, not as common as the rest of the wizardry, but they existed. But that's been fading. They're not very common anymore. Actually, he, even though he's very long lived, hasn't heard of any in the last quite some time. Of course, he's been stuck up on the plateau. So
I say, all right. So someone who may have taken to studying wild magic and has learned to harness it through wizardry as opposed to sorcery is a possible, possibly. I don't know. Or he could just be a sorcerer and he's good at lying. Either way, he has been doing a ridiculous amount of magic at the moment, causing a considerable amount of surges in an attempt to prove that it's not dangerous. I say, I don't think he honestly means any real harm. I think he was just scared.
we have history, good history with this gentleman. You can roll a persuasion check with advantage. I should have cast enhanced ability on you.
It wouldn't help. It only gives me advantage. 6.
What was the other number?
It was. I rolled a 5 and a 2, and I had to add 1. Yep. Charisma is not our strong suit. Let's be honest.
Sure enough. I'll roll his response.
I haven't lied to him or anything. I'm just trying to convince him with facts.
Yeah, he says,
as well as I can understand them.
I understand your logic. And as far as I'm concerned, for the most part, it's quite true. You're doing this as you walk, because otherwise you're going to miss your appointment.
Yeah.
He says, I've studied a lot, not as much as you guys, obviously. Since this started happening, I have spent a bit of time in the library trying to discern if it is possible. From what I've heard, most of the higher level wizards here don't think it's likely, but they're not saying no either, and I can't really find much in the way of evidence. But it is not being ruled out vehemently by these people, so they're probably just not interested, because he does know that wild magic surges eventually will cause harm. It
is pure chaos being channeled through a magical energy. Almost anything can happen.
Yep, and I do agree that maybe their reaction was a little over the top, but you know as well as I do, the Court of the Seven have been, major pain.
Yes, I say, and to be fair, up until I say probably about a week ago, they were almost on your doorstep.
Yes, we caught word of that. we're not sure what happened, but apparently they're no longer a presence in that town. We were going to send an operative out there to check and see what happened, but festival happened and we just didn't have the time.
I'm going to not really. I'm just going to let his, I assume, almost intended question pass for the moment. I don't want to cause too much of a stir. The fact that we probably dealt with the village at the moment. Let's try and keep this focused on the current issue.
All right.
I just say, honestly, I think he does just want access to the library, which is basically what what we're here for, and I assume what almost every other magic user who comes to Lyria is interested in. Is you have one of the, as far as I understand, the most impressive and quite possibly only functioning magical academy that we've heard of.
Says yes. We have. You see a little bit of pride come in his demeanor at this point.
Yes, it
The
worked.
best academy ever, anywhere. We have access to high levels of magic, some very good teachers, but also we are steeped in tradition. Not just everyone can have access. Some people manage by feats of tons of money be able to buy their way in, but most people have to, well, prove themselves, like you guys have done so.
Well,
And
I'm not going to ask for this individual to be exempt from that. I'm just going to ask that, well, first of all, that mostly everyone just calms down a little bit, and just that he's given that opportunity himself.
well, says I am very doubtful, but I'm willing to meet with him, see if I can ascertain his character for myself. So I would like you to roll a dex check, please, to see if we can make it through the crowds in time. Rolling better.
That's another 7.
Well, Aldrich and I rolled really well.
Yeah.
So on average, we can make a way for you. No problem.
Okay.
So you're not going to slow us down. So we do make it to that
Tavern.
Yeah, right about here.
Before our time limit.
Actually, very, very, very close to it, because as we approach, you do see the gentleman in question just coming out the door.
Okay.
He sees us, sees the white knight of Lyria, and manages not to panic. He does look down the road, and he looks right on the line.
I say, all right. Just stay calm. We're here to discuss things civilly. I add to myself, hopefully.
All right. So,
Mentally, I add that to myself. I don't say it aloud.
okay. You approach, you see Aldrich, and is really thinking hard about this. He's staring at this young gentleman. This goes on for a little while. He hasn't said anything yet. He says, fine. Let's go in, sit down, and talk. And we'll see if we can come to an equitable arrangement.
All right.
You like a reasonable young gentleman, besides some, let's say, dubious choices. But I do understand that the strict history of this place can be a little stifling. Some embrace it, as he has,
Yeah.
and some can't. So anyway, you go inside, and he tells a story. We just sit and listen mostly.
Yeah, because we already heard it. So
Yeah. So he tells a story of how he got treated and how he's just casting spells, trying to prove how harmless it all is. And then he has a moment of conscience. He says, I cast a small spell, but there was such a surge of wild magic that it wouldn't stop. Things just kept happening. I went invisible. Whole pile of people went invisible. Pile of stuff happened. I gained a whole pile of spell levels that I'd already used. It was just incredible, and it's to tell you the truth, it scared me. I understand. No one got hurt. I'm very happy about that. And I, if it'll help, I promise not to do any magic inside town. But I obviously am going to continue being a wizard because maybe I can, if they'll allow me, guess we'll go on some of these quests that I keep hearing about that people leave town and try and do to gain these crests. All I want is access to libraries so I can learn more. All right, and Aldrich, who's been staring at this guy the entire time, trying to discern his character, and apparently did a really good job of it, says,
Yeah, I think I remember correctly. He does have insight.
Yep.
Because he goes on with his job.
Yep. It's important. He needs to be able to ascertain the character of people that he is trying to deal with, because sometimes he's dealing with some really evil people. And he says, I believe you.
In all honesty, if I had thought of it earlier, I probably should have asked to roll an insight check, but I forgot.
You can do it now.
Sure, why not? Belated. But I was listening to the story as well.
Yep.
Honestly, I might as well be flipping a coin for some of these checks. 10.
You have insight too.
Yeah.
What'd you roll this time?
I rolled a 4 plus 6.
God.
See, I said I might as well be flipping a coin sometimes. At the moment.
Yep. It's a good thing we're not in combat right now, because you'd be having a terrible time. All right. Aldrich believes him. He says, look, I have a fair amount of weight in this town. Not to brag or anything, but I suggest that you stay here the night. I'll pay for your night. Tomorrow, these two gentlemen are going to be coming into Lyria, into the main town. By then, I'll have convinced everyone that the crisis, he has a look on his face because he thinks this is blown out of proportion.
Yeah, it was.
And I will escort the three of you, because these two gentlemen have earned their right to come into town. And between all of us, I think we can probably give you your chance. The guy is actually looking very hopeful at this point. Says that's more than I can hope for. I mean, that's great. I love that. And I honestly will not cast any spells. Well, cantrips, because they don't do anything.
I don't know if they're going to ask him of that, but okay.
No.
I'm just willing to let this all settle at the moment.
He's not going to cast any spells, and they're not going to ask him to cast spells, because
No,
unless they want to use them as a test subject, which we're not going to put up with, or an Aldrich's not going to put up with.
Yeah.
They're not.
You talked about the fact the history of wild magic. It's been known to happen.
Yeah. So that is indeed the end of my scenario.
Right. Oh, one thing before that, I returned Aldrich his sending stone and the magic detector because they're his.
Because you want to. Well, first off, they're his, and secondly,
I want to reattune to the Ion Stone.
Yep. He doesn't want to attune to this thing, but he will report.
Well, it's a prototype. He can return it to whoever he got it from, I assume, and inform them that the test was successful.
Yeah.
If irritating, because good grief, is that thing worse than the locate object spell?
You know what the funny thing is? The only reason why it went so crazy
was because of this really unpredictable surge you mentioned.
He rolled 0-1 on the chart.
Oh, every time you cast a spell from now on, it causes a wild magic surge. I think that's what it is, right?
Nope. every 6 seconds for a minute, there's a surge of wild magic.
Okay, well, at least that explains everything.
Yep. So 10 rolls, 10 surges of wild magic, and no one got blown up.
Well,
Yep.
all right then.
He regained some spells. He turned invisible, turned a whole pile of people invisible. Uh,
Turn blue.
Turned blue, became vulnerable to physical attacks, became invulnerable to physical attacks. A whole pile of stuff. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. All right then.
So, yeah,
Yes.
tomorrow
Tomorrow we'll get our first look of the inside of Lyria.
we get to go into Lyria proper.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please remember to like and subscribe, and please join us here again next time as we get our look at Lyria proper, and we'll be seeing if the inside of the city was worth all the trouble we went through to get in there.
Yeah. We'll find out.
We will.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.